A good Tevach. Shavua Tov. We are now on Daf Ayin Amud Bet 70b. Near the bottom, about 6 lines up, 7 lines up, Amar Rava. Okay. Katzar v'tachan ki grogret. Now, grogret, ki grogeret, is a dried fig. That is the shiur, the measurement of certain milachot, like carrying food, or grinding food, or harvesting food, because that amount of food is significant. So if you do the melacha with that amount, it's not a kazai. You say, oh, that's the melacha. If you do it with if you grind this much wheat, it's asur, it's like shchatzi shir, but it's not going to be mechayev echatat. Okay, so this is the shir. So what did the guy do? All right. We're talking about in this perek, Klal Gadol, all the chayev chatas, he's doing things b'shogeg. What did he do b'shogeg? He harvested and he grinded it. 2 melachot. However, how did he do it? What was his mistake? Why did he do it? It was b'shegigat Shabbat. He forgot it was Shabbat. The Mishnah told us, the second rule, if you forget that today is Shabbat, you bring 1 carbon for all the malachot. If you do it again, if you do it, the mistake was in the malachot, you knew it was Shabbat, then we learned out Shmuel, Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Natan, different sources, that every malacha, even though it's all chilul Shabbat, is a separate shem avirah, separate name. But if your mistake was not in the malachot, I know it's but today's Sunday, so then you bring only 1 carbon for both. So how many karbanot does he have to bring? He did this in the morning. This is the 9 o'clock in the morning mistake that he made. He thought it was Sunday. He harvested the size of kigrogreret, and then he grinded it. So he did 2 melachot. That is 2 averot, but it's 1 carbon for both of them. Because the mistake that brought about these 2 averot was a mistake of Shabbat. And we have 2 psukim, V'sharmu b'nei Yisrael Shabbat and et Shabtotai Tishmoru. And there's a machloket Amoraim, which way you learned out was what. But, okay, so how many chataot does he have to bring for the story? 1. But then, V'chazar v'katav v'tachan kigrogeret. Then later on in the afternoon, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, wakes up from his Shabbos nap, and he wakes up a new man. He says, oh, today's Shabbat. Now he's thinking Shabbat. But, so I'm just going to give an example just to make it, it's not so, because it's a little hard to imagine such a case happening. What he forgets now, it's v'nahapachu. He says, it's Shabbat, so let me review the laws of Shabbat. He goes and he does a fabulous, terrible job. Fabulously rotten job of reviewing the laws of Shabbat. And he comes out with his family that Kitzira and Techina are okay. Those are not melachot. Those, whatever. I'm just making it up. Anyways, meaning what he knew in the morning, that they are melachot, that wasn't, now he doesn't know. So now, now he's katzah v'tachan in the afternoon. Kigrogeret. So how many korbanot does he have to bring now for this afternoon one? 2. Because he knew it's Shabbat, but the shemot were separate. Ketzira, techina. Harvesting and grinding. Okay, so altogether, 1 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, 3. So you would think he brings 3, right? And then what happened was, now he was notified. Notification is the prerequisite to be able to bring. He has to know what he did wrong. So the nodalo al ketzira v'tchina shel shegigat Shabbat. V'zadon melachot. Then it was notified to him about the morning problem. V'chazar v'nodal lo al ketzira v'tchina shel don Shabbat v'shegigat melachot. And then he was notified about the afternoon problem. Someone tells him, or he figured it out himself. Whoa, both suddenly come to him, morning and afternoon. So now you say, okay, let him bring 3. Says Rava, here's the chidush. Chidush goes like this: Kitzira goreret kitzira. Okay. The Ketzira, let me tell it to you outside first, and then we read it inside. It will be very, very, very simple. He's mafresh, he separates an animal to bring for the morning carbon. Now that morning carbon, let's say this is the animal. This is going to bring a kapara for which Aveda? Morning. What is that Aveda? Chilul Shabbat. But what is it specifically? Let's identify it very carefully, precisely. It's precisely a kapara for Ketzira and Techina. Okay? Now, you only bring one for both because what brought you to it was the Shigat Shabbat and not the Shigat Melachot. But it's being mechaper for being kotzer on Shabbat and being tochen. Since you did the afternoon ones in the same helem is the word you're going to hear a lot today. Helem means in the same concealment, which means you're not notified about the problem that you did until after both were done at 7 o'clock at night, or maybe Motzei Shabbat, you figured it out. But when you did when you had the morning issue and then you did the afternoon issue, all of it was done in the one not knowing. Now I understand it's different types of not knowings, but at the end of the day, you did a Ketzira in the morning and a Ketzira in the afternoon, and both of them were like mamish. What, anything wrong with your Ketzira in the morning? Great, everything's great. The guy is oblivious, right, to any problem. So basically it's like eating 2 pieces of chaylev, of forbidden fat. When do you bring 1 chatat or 2 chatat? It depends. If you were notified in between, you have to bring 1 for the morning. And then maybe another one, we'll see about that B'ezrat Hashem on the second side. That's the normal halacha. If you did it behelem echad, behelem echad means in one concealment, you ate, and then you ate again 20 minutes later. Not in the same achila, in the same kadiyah, because obviously then it would be 1. 20 minutes later, an hour later, but you never realized anything was wrong, so then it's 1 chatat. So therefore, when I bring the morning, this animal, for the morning averot, it covers the ketzira of the morning, so it can also be gorer, the ketzira can pull in the ketzira of the afternoon. Because it's the same averah, it's the same piece of chaylev. It's kotzer of Shabbat. So I did another kotzer of Shabbat. Kotzer of Shabbat at 9 o'clock in the morning, kotzer of Shabbat 4 o'clock in the afternoon. They're both concealed to me. Nothing broke them up because there was no notification, no knowledge in between. There was no knowledge in between. Yediyah bein time, that's very important. It was behelem echad, one long concealment. So therefore, and the tchina of the morning, which is also the first one, because it was Shigat Shabbat, so I only have to bring 1 carbon. We'll cover the tchina afternoon. So how many do you bring? 1. Not 3. 1. Done. Beauty. Pashut. See, if you listen to the thing, is that... Okay, listen. Gets a little bit... Okay. But now, that's the first line. Ketzira of the morning. Goreret ketzira of the afternoon. Utchina, and the grinding of the morning. Goreret tchina of the afternoon. Okay? Now, Rashi just speaks out one little detail. He says, even though what I didn't know about the morning was not what I didn't know in the afternoon. By eating 2 pieces of chaylev, what you don't know is like, I don't know that this is chaylev. Usually that's a normal case. Or I don't know that I'm not allowed to eat chaylev. But here, we're changing it up. In the morning, the reason why I did the ketzirah is I didn't know it was Shabbat. In the afternoon, I didn't know the ketzirah was Asur. Right? So Rashi says, doesn't matter to me. That's what Rav is teaching you. Because the only thing, at the helem echadu. At the end of the day, it's 1 helem. Because there was no knowledge, because you weren't notified about the Avedah, about your sin in between. And the knowledge in between is what? Okay, good. Now what about if Okay, I did the morning problem and I did the afternoon problem and it switched the problem around. Exact same case. But then, you know what I found out about first? Someone told me that I did the afternoon one. And I had knowledge, or I figured it out myself, doesn't matter how. I said, oi, the afternoon. I have to bring 2 chataot. I gave a whole shir that ktsira is mutar and tchina is mutar. They're both asur. I can't believe it. I have to bring one for ktsira, one for tchina. So now the question is, and I take an animal and I mafresh it. I separate it. I make it holy. So the question is now, okay. So now what's going to happen like this? So what happens is, I'll tell it to you outside first, is that I'm going to bring this carbon, and this carbon is now going to cover only ketzira from the afternoon. But guess what it does? Since it's covering ketzira, so it will cover the ketzira of the morning as well. For the same reason why I was able to do it for the morning of the afternoon, because they're both the same avirah, ketzira. It doesn't matter that it was a different mistake in the ketzira. Rashi said it's one helem, one concealment of 2 of the same avirot, being kotzer on Shabbat. Okay, so now this one will cover the ketzira of the morning. Here's the catch. Here is the thing, Kat. Once it covers the morning avera of ketzira, the ketzira of the morning is niskaper in one carbon together with its tchina. So since it's already like in place, it's like I'm bringing the morning carbon, not just it's like, I'm being yotzeh. I am covering the morning's carbon. The morning's carbon, you don't need more than one to cover everything because it was Shigat Shabbat. So it's gorer, it pulls the tchina into. Like that?
The morning pulls the afternoon tchina.
No, the afternoon kitzira, that for sure could take the kitzira of the morning. Yeah. And even though the Gemara uses the word gorer, Rashi says, that's not cool. That's just a language, but Tosfos says maybe Dim Shabbat. Rashi learns, the Gemara uses it. It doesn't mean gorer. It doesn't have to be gorer anything. They have the same name. It's like 2 pieces of chaylev. It's behelem echad. Covers it. Once it covers it, that means it's as if I brought the carbon of the morning. If you would have brought the carbon of the morning mistake, it covers all 39 melachot. Because it was Shigat Shabbat, it wasn't Shigat Melachot. So therefore, it's able to put, now, it's goyer the tchina of the morning also. So the afternoon ketzira, if that's the one that I'm going to bring, covers the ketzira of the morning, and then, therefore, since it does, it pulls the tchina over also.
It's like a retroactive thing, because
No, I don't see it as retroactive so much. Not mafreya. It's once this is being considered the morning carbon because of the ktsira. So now it has the koyach. Yeah, that ktsira will now
this by itself would have
had the tchina. Exactly. So the ktsira of the morning that's here now pulls in the tchina. Says, "Come, my friend, you would have been with me. There's no reason why you need a separate one, and I'm here already. I exist because my name is ktsira, and I'm behelam echad with the next ktsira."
What happens with the other korban?
And the next tchina of the afternoon, bim koimo imedas, you have to bring your own carbon. So if you bring for the afternoon carbon, if that's it, then you have to bring 2. If you're going to bring for the morning, 1, not 3. Yeah. And in the afternoon, 2, not 3. But never 3. Okay, shmak. It's worth coming to the world and going through many Yisurim just to hear this Gemara, and every Gemara. But this Gemara, we're able to really feel the sweetness. Okay. Okay. Let's read that inside. Second line. But if he was notified to him about the Ketzirah, the one that he knew about Shabbat, but he didn't know about the Melachot, which is the afternoon one, Ketzirah, Gored Ketzirah. The afternoon Ketzirah pulls the Ketzirah of the morning. Rashi says that's not a real pulling. It's the same shame. Utchina she'ima. That's what it's going on. it's able to pull the tchina with it of the morning. But tchina shekinegda, but the tchina opposite it, which is the afternoon one, bimkoma omedet, that stands there, and you have to bring your own one. Abayomar. This is much better than regular tchina. This is the sugi of tchina. Abayomar tchina nami geres tchino shem tchino achasi. Abaya says, 1 second. You went up, you pulled the tchina, so now the tchina is already here, so now it's covering a tchina. So once this carbon is being mechaper on a tchina, so now it pulls that. So you go up to the morning, the ktira pulls over the tchina, now that tchina now pulls the bottom tchina. So one again. Got it? Chazak. That's Abaya. The machlek is Abaya and Rava. Okay? So, okay. So the Gemara says, Umi itle le Rava greira? Does Rava hold of this rule called greira? Pulling? Rava didn't go so far like Abaya, but Rava went for greira. He pulled the top tchina. It was stated, listen to what Rava said somewhere else, about something else. You'll see if it makes sense to say that Rava held of greater. New case, you ready? He ate 2 kizdesim of chelev in one forgetting. And he was notified about one of them. Okay, so he was told, let's say, meaning on the first one. You know this morning, you know that piece of meat you had? Yeah, what was wrong? The breakfast was great. It was chaylev. What? Oi! I have to bring a chatat. Okay, meantime, what he just had for lunch right now, he has no idea. He ate those behelam echad. And now he goes ahead, 20 minutes later, half an hour later, and he eats another piece of chaylev, a third one. Okay? The same helm as the middle one. So how many karbanos does he have to bring? So Rava says like this. Omer Rava, heavy carbon al rishon v'sheni mitkaprin, gimel ena mitkaper. If he brings a carbon for the first one, the first and the second get a kapara, because the first and the second were done in one helm. So you're covered. Gimel ena mitkaper. The third one is out. Why is the third one out? Because once he only ate the third one after he had knowledge of the first one. So the first and the third are separated by the knowledge that he became aware of between the second and the third. He had knowledge of the first. Understand? So that yediyah is mechalik, okay, between the first and the third. Heavy carbon ala shlishi, if he brought on the third one, shlishi v'sheni mitkaprin, because they were done behelam echad. Rishonena mitkaper, because there was that yediyah again separated the first one from the next one. It's not helam echad anymore. It's shnei ha'alamot, 2 different concealments, because I found out about the first one before I started eating the third one. Not before I started eating the second one, but before I started eating the third one. So, therefore, if I bring for the third, the first it won't be covered. Heavy carbon kapru kula. If you brought for the middle one, they're all nitkaper.
These are all in the case that he was noda after the first one?
Yeah, it's all the same case. One case, right, exactly. If you brought for the middle one had behelam echad of the first and behelam of the second. That yediyah that happened was too late for the second. The second one was already in. And then with the third one, he didn't have any yediyah yet till after he finished the third. So the second one's connected in one helam to the first and in one helam to the third. So if you bring a carbon for the middle one, you cover both. Very nice. Abaya Omar. Abaya says, "Afilu heavy carbon al echad me'en nitkapru kulan." Even if you bring a carbon for any one of them, they're all in. Because once the first, let's say you bring for the first, covers the second, so and now the second will be go to the third because the second and the third are one helam. Or you do the third and it covers the second, so the second will per the first. What did Rava say? No. Oh, so you don't hold of any greater. So if you don't hold greater, why do you hold of it over here? In the afternoon, the ktsira pulls the ktsira, takes the ktsira, and now it pulls the trina. I thought you don't go for greater. That's the Gemara's kasha, Rava. So the Gemara says, Basha the Shoma me Abaya Savra. The Gemara says you're 100% right. He used to not hold a greater at all. But once he heard this machlekes with Abaya, he said, I hear what you're saying. And he retracted, and he went with Abaya's shita. That is greater.
On top.
That's why on the top. So, this machlokes with the two pieces of chaylev, the three, he had a machlokes with Abaya, and then Abaya said, no, that shouldn't be. There's a thing called greater. He said, I like it. He first said it, but then he retracted. And then he spoke about the Shabbat sugya. So he was already in. He was already bought into greater. That's why the kaitza that takes the kaitza can be greater the tchina. So the Gemara says, he took the greater, like Abaya. So, Ihachi tchina nami tigre l'tchina. If you're such a fan of greater, so let the tchina that you pulled now be greater the tchina on the bottom. Yeah, I had this cash. Okay, Baruch Hashem. Yeah, the Ritva asked. Okay, fine. So the Gemara says, greater itla greater the greater letli. That's he went for a bias, of a greater, but you can't. The greater doesn't have a power to do another greater. It's too much. It's too many kochot. This needs lumdish explanation. What is it? He's got he pixie dust. How much power? There's a lumdis here. This is a logical thing. How it works and how they argue. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So the Gemara is like this. Milsto, the pshitu hu le'abai v'rova, or le'rova v'abai, they change it. Mi boy le'abzero. The matter that was pashut abai v'rova. It was so pashut, everything we just said, that was a big Rabbi Zera asked Rabbi Asi, V'amri and some say Bal Minei Rabbi Yirmiyah and Rabbi Zera. Some said that Rabbi Yirmiyah asked Rabbi Zera. Listen to the shaila. Kotza v'tochan chatzi gergeres b'shigas Shabbos v'zdoi melochis. What's the case? He harvested and grinded half of a te'ena. Half. This is not enough for the shear to be over Shabbat. I mean, it's chatzi shear and it's asur. 100%. It's like eating a little piece of chazir. You're not allowed to. But you're not going to incur the death penalty or the chatat, which is always for the shogeg of the karet. Okay? So now, he made this mistake. What was his mistake? His mistake was he forgot that it was Shabbat. He threw a Sunday. So he took he harvested a half a fig, or something the size of the half a fig, dried fig. Then he grounded it. Okay, nothing doing yet, right? There's no malacha. It's not a malacha. He still hasn't had any idea. He grinds another half. Oh, but the mistake was different. I had to make it more complicated here. Listen to this. The mistake was the opposite mistake. Took his afternoon nap. He wakes up. He says, "Oh, it's Shabbat." Yeah. In the morning, it's Shabbat. Let me review the halachot of Shabbat. Does a terrible job. Kitzira and China become okay for him. So now he said, "Oh, they're okay. Let me do that other half now." So now he ended up between the morning and the afternoon. Between the morning and the afternoon, he ended up doing a full melacha. So now the question is, are they mitzaref or not? So, ma'u sheyitztafu. Can they join together? Okay. Now, what's his question? Why not? What do you mean? It's one halama. I did katsir in the morning, katsir in the afternoon. I didn't know that it was asur, and I didn't know it was asur in the afternoon. And altogether, that when you eat, you have to do it in the time span of kadei achilat pras, which is 2 minutes to 9 minutes. But here, you're not eating. So as long as it's on the same Shabbat, the same concealment, and altogether I did an amount that was significant, and there was no yediyah in between to break up the actions into two separate things. So what's about? Why shouldn't it be mitzaref? I should bring a carbon, one carbon. So his question was, yeah, maybe it's a different mistake. It's true. It's the mistake of doing kitzira on Shabbat that you did in the morning, that you did in the afternoon. You made a mistake and you were over on Ketzira on Shabbat. You didn't know it was Asur. But what you didn't know about it was completely different. One, you knew the halachot, you were saying them over amazingly in the morning, but you said it's Sunday morning. In the afternoon, you said them over terribly. But you just, you knew it was Shabbat, but you didn't know the halachot, the milachot. Alright? So, maybe that's considered like two different halamot. That's what his question was. So they told him back, Omalei, now, so therefore you can't join them. If you can't join them, then each one by itself has nothing to do with the other, and therefore each one by itself is not a melacha, because they're all halves. Half is not a whole. So he doesn't bring anything. Amalei chalukin l'chataot v'lo mitztaf. So whoever was the answer, like Rabbi Asi or Rabbi Zera, answered either Rabbi Yirmiyah or Rabbi Zera. He said, since they're divided for chataot, meaning to say, if they would have been a complete shiur, a full teina in the morning and a full teina in the afternoon, they wouldn't have covered each other. Here's what he says. They would not have covered each other. Why wouldn't they cover each other? Ketzira wouldn't cover Ketzira. It's the same name. Yeah, because he holds, it wouldn't have. Nothing, you can't touch the other one, nothing to do with each other. Even though they're both Ketzira of Shabbat, yeah, but it's a different type of mistake in the Ketzira. So the Chatat can't cover. Therefore, since the Chataot are separated, even if it would have been a complete one, so now you want to know, could they join when they're halves? They can't join, because they're separated from the halachot of Chataot. So you see that he doesn't agree with. Now the first one, the one that asked him was Misupak. And the answer was actually the opposite of everything we said about Abai and Rav in the morning, up above. That what? That, now forget about Greira, get the Ktsira getting the Tchina. The Ktsira can't even get the Ktsira. Unbelievable, right? So, okay. So now let's do this. This is Geschmack Gemara. Even though I'm tired, everybody say, but I'm full of strength now for this. It's two separate things. I didn't sleep. I was trying to sleep. I couldn't sleep today. I don't know why. And but this is a charge here. So the Gemara says, one second. Let's just say that you argue with Abai and Rav. Okay, fine. Granted, I got you. Either whoever it was, of Zera or Abasi, that answered this. He says, they can't, even if it would be complete ones, right? They wouldn't have, they wouldn't be able to be one chatat. So he says, okay, one second. So anytime you find that two things can't be covered in one chatat, automatically they can't join when they need each other to join to become one because they're both halves. Is that a rule? You're saying since they would have been separate for chatat, so therefore they can't join. It makes a lot of sense, but he's saying, I'll show you it's not like that. So even if you want to argue with Abai and Rava that there's two separate chataot, but in the case of the halves, not necessarily can't they join to become one. Why? Where do we see that? Tanan, because there's a Mishnah. Mishnah in Kritut. Pretty simple halacha. Two chelevs in one helem, only one chatat. Achal chelev v'dam v'notar pigul. Four separate shemot, different avirot. Forbidden fats, blood, leftover sacrifice, and ruined sacrifice because he had the wrong thoughts about when to eat it out of the zman. Behelem echad, in one concealment. Okay? Chayav al kol achat v'achat. Even though it was one concealment, you didn't know anything till after you did all four avirot. Still, every avirah had nothing to do with the second one, so it's considered like a separate concealment. Therefore, you have to bring four chatot. Okay? Now, this is the next part, is what we have to remember very well now. Zu chomer b'minin harbe mimin echad. This is a stringency that we find when you have all different types of avirot, like dam, chelev, notar, pigul, more than if it would be one species, like two pieces of the same species of chelev. Okay? Because when you have four different types of avirot, there's four chatot, and if it's one, there could be one helem, it's one. That's understandable. But if you want to know, there's actually a stringency the other way, when you have one species. You want to know what it is? One species could be worse. If you eat half a kezayit, then you eat another half a kezayit from one species. Let's say you have chelev, half a kezayit, half a kezayit. Then you chayav, right? If you did it when? What? Helem echad. But b'chdei achilas pras. Okay? Okay. Rashi says, from the beginning of the consumption of the first one to the end of the consumption of the second one was not more than achilas pras. Okay? But mishnei minin patur. But from two separate ones, let's say I eat half a kezayit chelev and half a kezayit notar. Even if I do them with the achilas pras, they join to what? To what? It's a half of blue and half of red. So now you put them together, so you have a whole blue? No. You have a whole red? No. You have a half of blue and half of red. They can't join. They don't become one. Because they're separate things. So there is a chumrah in one species over different species. Because one species has the joining factor. But different avirot don't. Okay? So far, it's very nice. But the problem is, the havinon ba. Havinon ba mean we asked on this Mishnah. Mimin echad chayav tzricha l'meimer. Thank you very much. So you said that the difference between eating one thing and many is that one is chayav. Right? If you eat half a kezayit and half a kezayit. So why do you have to say that? Let me ask you a question. What is not half a kezayit and half a kezayit in one achilas pras? Give me the classic case of chelev. Not half and half. In the time span of, let's say, 3 minutes. What is it? No, it's one, not half and half. One piece of it. What do you do? You stick the whole goat like this? No. One means, that's what one means. One means you eat an entire kizayis in that time span. You have to put the whole kizayis one shot here? No. It is considered like it went together. It's one achila if it was in 3 minutes. So half a kizayit at the beginning of the 3 minutes and half a kizayit at the end with all, is one. Don't make like a whole case out of it, like, oh, this one has a joining. It's not that's the din of Kedei Achilas Pras. That's one. So it's a little bit like the Gemara says, that's Poshut. Don't make a whole case out of it. So the Gemara says, so you know what the teretz is? Now, we're already lost in this mission over here, the Geshmak. But remember, it has to come prove something soon. I'll get back to it soon. So the Gemara says, the Omer HaShlakish, Mishum Batutni. Batutni was the son of Tutni. Shlakish said an answer. There's two different types of ways of cooking it. One was roasted, one was cooked. One was soft, watery meat in the soup. One was roasted, barbecued. So two halves. Okay, so there's a chidush here. What's the chidush? The chidush is that even though they're prepared in two different ways, they could join together to become one piece of chaylev. Okay, now we're talking. That's why we said it. Okay, what does that have to do with anything that we talk about today? We'll see in a minute. But who is this chiddush according to? Rabbi Yehoshua. According to the Tana of Rabbi Yehoshua. The Omar, because Rabbi Yehoshua said, Tamchuyin mechalkin. Rabbi Yehoshua actually says that tamchuyin means the way that you cook it is mechalik. Actually divides divides the chataot. Rabbi Yeshua's opinion is that different ways of preparing a food can divide it into different chataot. Now, so Mao de Tema, you would have thought, Omer Rabbi Yeshua ben lekula ben lechumra. You would have thought that he says it in going lenient and going stringent. Not only going stringent, but even lenient. Meaning, to break it up and make sure you don't bring any chataot. If you have a half a kizayit and you need the other half to become one, but they're made out of different things, Rabbi Yeshua is going to say, Tamchuyin mechalkin. Komash v'lon. The chiddush of the Mishnah is, no, this half and this half, even though one is roasted and one is cooked, can, even according to Rabbi Yeshua, will come together. And where did Rabbi Yeshua say that it will be mechalak chatot? Only to be more stringent, not to give you a leeway to get out of carbon, but to be more stringent. Meaning, what's the case? L'chumra ka'amar. The Kamash Malon de l'kula lo yamar. He didn't say l'kula over here. Only l'chumra ka'amar. Now, what's l'chumra? L'chumra means that, let's say you have a full shear. According to Rabbi Yeshua, the guy eats a full shear. He eats 2 kizaysim of chaylev. In one helam. Now, how much does he usually bring?
1.
What? He brings 1 because it's 1 helam. So Rabbi Shua says, no, 2 chatat. Because 2 different tabchuyin. Now, so therefore he's teaching you like this. The chiddush of the Mishnah is that's only to mach around you, to bring another one. But to tell you, to use this svara, to say they're separate, two different types of cookings, that you're not going to join 2 halves, that he's not going to go so far to say. Okay? So, and the reason is, because each one of the kizaysim are big enough to bring their own chatat. So since you're cooked and you're roasted, we'll separate you. But if neither of them are big enough, so then they could Who are you? You're not like, oh, I'm my own chatat. I'm already a big piece of meat. You're nothing yet. So don't start talking about the fact that you're cooked and you aren't a number yet. So therefore you could join. That's the svara here that the Ran says. Now, okay, very nice. Now, what do we have here? We have a case here that Rabbi Shua just said, chalukin chataot. These two types of pieces of meat, they have chiluk chataot. If they would be full shlemot, you would separate the chataot. Behelam echad, they wouldn't get, right? They wouldn't be what's it called again? They wouldn't be one chatat. And yet, they're mitzdaref. When they're halves, they are mitzdaref. You told me before that if you argue with Abai and Rava, and you say that the different types of mistakes of k'tzir in the morning, k'tzir in the afternoon, they're so different. It's a different mistake that I made with the k'tzir. Therefore, it's a separate carbon. Chiluk chataot. You differentiate, you separate the carbonot. And therefore, you told me that. Therefore, they're not going to be mitzdaref by halves. Because he asked him, what about if you have half, you're a koitzer v'toichen, half a grade, half a thing, and then you're a koitzer v'toichen, another half? What happens? And he told him, since it's chaluk in the chatois, if they would be complete, then they're not mitzdaref and they're not complete. But here we have that you have a chiluk chataot if they would be complete, and yet the Mishnah is telling you that they are mitzdaref if they're halves. That's the Gemara's kasha. Omar lei, so whoever the one that was answering this kasha, whether it was Rebseiro or Abbas, told the other one, you learnt this whole kasha that they asked and the whole teretz of Rabbi Yeshua on the beginning of that phrase, and therefore you have a whole problem with me, with what I said before. But I never learned the kasha that they asked and the teretz of Rabbi Yeshua on that part of the phrase, on the beginning. Anan aseifa masnin lavului kashlon. We learned the kasha and the teretz of Yeshua on the seifa. Therefore, your problem is not a problem for us. Let's go through a new way. A minute ago, we said that the problem they asked was on the sentence that says that if you have two halves of chaylev, they're mitzdaref. So we said shkoyach. That's not two halves of chaylev. If you ate them b'chdei achilas pras, that's one. So I said no, shnei tamchuyin, and we said a chiddush. I never said that. I never learned that was the kasha. The kasha was actually b'shnei minin potter. We said if you have two different averot, like notar, leftover carbon, and forbidden fat, two halves are not mitzdaref. So on that was the kasha. Two different halves, two different averot are not mitzdaref. Patur tzrichel meimer. Do you have to say that? That was the kasha they asked. And they answered this whole teretz with the Shnei Tabchuyin and Rabbi Shua. We're going to explain now, explain in a second, on that. Batutni said, when it says that, it doesn't have to say that. Shkoyach. No tarem chayva not mitzdaref. Obviously, what should they be mitzdaref to? Which avirah? Two separate things, red and blue. He said, no. They're really one min. They're the exact same thing. You know why it calls it two meaning? You know what it means by two meaning? Not chaylev and otar. It actually means two pieces of chaylev. What? Two pieces of chaylev? So why call them shnei minin? They're the exact same thing. They're chaylev. They're both. No, because since they were cooked, it means whole ones. It means half ones. But it's telling you that it's telling half ones, and it's telling you min echad, meaning to say Gemara's answer in a second. Min echad, I'm not sure exactly what it means, because they were cooked, min echad means it was cooked the same way. Two halves that were cooked the same way. Cooked, two halves get together. But two halves of chaylev, which are cooked in different ways, one's cooked, one's roasted, and it's like shnei minin, and they're potter. Ooh, and it's Rabbi Yeshua that said mechalkin. So Rabbi Yeshua that said lechumra, when you have two full shurim, it's mechalik. Also, he's saying in the Mishnah that even for tzarfus, it can't be mitzarf. So he's actually equating, if it's mechulik for chatot, then it's loy mitzarfi. And that's exactly what I told you before about Shabbat. Since the k'tir in the morning and the k'tir in the afternoon are separated because they are chaluk l'chataot, had they been full shurim, because there are different types of mistakes. Therefore, when they're halves, they can't even join to be one chatat, because chaluk, right? That's what the Gemara is saying. Rabbi Yeshua, the Amar Tamchun Mechalkin V'Alkam Ashmol, the Amar Rabbi Yeshua Bein L'Kula Bein L'Chumra. He's saying in Bein L'Kula and Bein L'Chumra. So the Gemara says, "Mid the Sefer Min Echad U'Shnei Tamchuyin B'Chlal the Reisha Min Echad V'Tamchuy Echad." That means the Reisha is one type of food, and one way of cooking it. Min Echad V'Tamchuy Echad Tzricha L'Mim. So why would you have to say it? Two halves of chaylev that are cooked the same way are mitzdarf. Then what's the chiddush? When I answers, listen to this. You know what the chiddush is? The guy ate half a chaylev. See, there's like half. You see, it's cut. He ate half of this, and not half of this. He ate this thing, which is half. He ate the chaylev. Then the guy tells him, "You know what you just did?" He says, "What? I just ate a piece of meat." "No, that's chaylev." "What?" "Well, you're lucky. It's only half a gazayas." Phew. Lucky guy. Okay? And then he eats another half a gazayas. Yeah. K'diach pras. Yeah. Yeah, k'diach pras. So what do you say? He has to bring a chatat, right? No. So he says, so the answer is that you're right, he does. But you would think that maybe you don't. Because since he had a yediyah, a knowledge, so it separates the action of eating here and action of that. So now you can't join the two actions because I had a knowledge in between. And if you can't join them, they both remain just simple halves. They never join to one. So maybe you don't bring anything. Komash v'lon, that even that you do bring. Why? Because it's Rabbi Gamliel that says, "Ein yediyah l'chatzi shir." It's a beautiful svara. Listen to Rabbi Gamliel's svara. He says that. What do you mean you had a yediyah? Guy tells you, you know what you just did? You ate a half a kazayit. You know what that is? You just found out that you did nothing. It's not yediyah. It's usher. It's usher. Even with the right, it's machlokes Rabbi Yochanan Shlokish, it's asur deraisa chatzi shir. But even if you say that it's asur deraisa, but in regards to korbanot, it's nothing. So it's not a yediyah about anything about a korban. It's like you almost were chayiv in a korban. You were half. So you mean to say I wasn't chayiv in a korban? Yeah, you weren't chayiv in a korban. Okay, that's not a yediyah of a korban. That's a yediyah that you didn't have to bring. That's a yediyah of a non-korban. So therefore, that doesn't separate the action of this half to that half. It's only when the yediyah brings about a korban that now it separates that act with the next act. Now we start a new phase. Now whatever you do now is a new korban. But if there's no korban to bring with the yediyah, it's not a yediyah, and that's what you bring. That's what it's teaching you. Shmak? Now, L'maisa, what should we do over here? I'm going to ask the Olam what the call is over here, because
always catch up.
we should stop now. I'm asking because I could stop now because we went for a long time. We went for almost an hour and it's already 11. And we have to give shir in the morning. What?
I think we should stop.
We should stop. Okay. Okay. Because this is also.
We're gonna have a good call hopefully by tomorrow also.
Okay. Beautiful. Let's get Shema. We'll leave it now.